This tutorial is for 5th grade, Module 5, Lesson 18. In this lesson, we're going to look at the properties of a rectangle. The direction tells us that these shapes are all rectangles. We're to mark congruent sides on the rectangles. Because the rectangles are also parallelograms, we know that opposite sides are equal. To mark equal or congruent sides, I'll use these little hash marks, and the sides that are congruent will have the same marking. So here I used one hash mark on each side to show that those opposite sides are congruent. I'll use 2 marks on these sides because they're congruent to each other, but not to the top and bottom. Technically, I should be using a ruler, but I'll assume that this shape over here is a square, which is a special type of rectangle, and I'll use the same mark to show that all 4 sides are congruent, and I'll do the same thing here. This is still a square, it's just kind of placed on an angle, but it is still a square. And I'll continue marking these other rectangles to show that opposite sides are congruent. The next step is to write the measurement for each angle on the rectangles. So I have this handy little protractor, and I'm going to show the measurement of the angle. So I'm going to line up the vertex of my rectangle, which is this point here. Now line that up on the center of the protractor. I'll make sure that this bottom edge of the rectangle runs through the 0 mark of my protractor. And then I'll follow it around, and I'll see that the other side runs through the 90-degree mark. This tells me that this angle is a 90-degree angle, or in other words, a right angle. If we were to measure all of these angles on the rectangle, we would find that they're all 90-degree angles, and that's part of what makes a rectangle special. When we write the definition of a rectangle, we really only need to include the fact that it is a quadrilateral with 4 right angles. You cannot make a quadrilateral with 4 right angles. That's not a rectangle. So some students might put down that opposite sides are equal, which is correct. We do not want them to say that there's a long side and a short side, though, because that would exclude the square from the rectangle group, and we know that a square is a special rectangle. So I'm just going to say it is a quadrilateral with 4 right angles. That simple definition covers all aspects of the rectangle.